Well, for me, we can all sit down and say it's actually a struggle. And I was sharing with the group when I decided to be more patient with people. It was the worst week of my life. It was as if when I was making that decision, like, okay, God, I'm gonna be an image bearer of you. I'm gonna be more patient with people. It was as if the devil was like, okay, we'll see about that. You know, and it was really, that week was really difficult, but I just kept reminding myself, I can do this. You know, I'm representing God. I can do this. It's just, for me, it's just a constant reminder of who I am and why I'm doing it. Not just about, doing the job, about the money. It's about, because the truth is, I was telling you about how I was so impatient with myself, where I want to be. I have this time frame at this age. This is what I want to do. But I was missing out on the current things going on in my life. The people in my life, the people I'm supposed to bless and stuff like that. So constantly reminding myself of that this is where God wants me to be right now, and I try to make a difference. Because looking back, the things I've been through, the struggles, I just realized that God was preparing me for this time. I've had more terrible experiences. I moved from Nigeria, moved there into this workplace. Trust me, it's a cultural shock. Like, the work experience is different, and having to start from the beginning, like from scratch, taking my exams and all that. So I've been through the struggles already. And even then, when I was going through that struggle, I look back now and I just realized God made me go through all those things because He wants me to be a better person now. This is where God wants me to be right now. And I have to constantly remind myself that and make sure I make a difference. I've worked with terrible bosses. I don't want to be those people. I want to be a better person. And I might not be where I want to be right now, but this is where God wants me to be. And I have to constantly remind myself that I have a purpose and a mission.
Yeah, and you had an interesting conversation with your mom one time you shared with us about. She asked you where you were going.
Oh yeah, and I was telling you about how I was frustrated last year, and I told my folks about it, and they didn't think it was a problem. I don't blame them. They've lived in this country for a long time. For me, work is different. I started working at the age of 24. I have siblings that have been working at the age of 15, so I think they got used to it, but and I was coming from the study group one day, and my mom called me. It was like 7:30, and she was like, "Oh, you're going to work?" I said, "No, I'm coming from a Bible study." She was like, "No, you're going to a Bible study." I said, "No, I'm coming from a Bible study." So she was like, "So what time is this Bible study?" I said, 6:30. She said, "So what time did you wake up?" I said, "I woke up like 5:30 because I had to leave the house at 6. And she was shocked because, I like to sleep a lot. So it's very hard to get me to wake up in the morning, but because I felt I needed this, I made a commitment, and I am so proud of myself of who I am now.
Way to go, Kim. Anybody else? Kevin?
What's fascinating to me is for the stories that we've all shared is that we just take so many different diverse experiences into the workplace, and what's so cool is to see how God uses experiences. I know in my life, we just if we are faithful to share what God's doing in our lives, whether it's success or failure, with the people around us, we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to have everything perfectly articulated and be able to write a book or something like that. It's life, connecting the life of Christ to the people around us, and it's the times when we're so transparent. And I think that's what draws people. It's the Holy Spirit that draws people to Himself. But every time I get anxious, so Philippians 4 is it 16? Being anxious for nothing, but everything through prayer, supplication, make your requests known to God. And anxiety in my physical state is a reminder that God used that I'm holding on too tight, and I'm worried about something, and I'm worried about tomorrow, when today has enough problems of its own, and to the point that I can release that and just allow Him to work in the moment, in this situation, I think is where He wants us to be, as opposed to worried about everything. And it's really, really hard, but it's really, really simple at the same time, just to relinquish that. And to me, that's just the key to living a life with Christ, is to allow us to share so many personal situations that I can remember, or I can't remember sharing. People will come up to me years and years. I've worked with them many, many years ago, and they say, "You remember when you went through this situation?" And I don't even remember talking about that situation. And I had shared something that God did in my life, and they'll come back to me years later, and I don't remember sharing that at all. But I think that's the way that God touches many, many lives around us, if we just talk about what He's doing. To me, that's the essence of a witness for Christ in the workplace.
Well, thank them so much for coming and sharing. And that's why we're here, is that we're all similar people, and whether we have a different title in an organization that's lofty or just serves people, is that every one of us can experience God just as much as anyone else in the world. There is no degree, there are no rites of passage. Is that we have access to an awesome, awesome God who can meet us in our need. And so as you interact with your other table members there, and your facilitator leads you through some questions, just encourage you, what is it that God has for you today when you walk back into your workplace? What is it that you need from Him that will help you connect in a more meaningful way in your work? So guys, enjoy your time at the table, and I'll close here in a little bit. Thank you.